But staying on the topic of learning, most students experience stress in one way or the other. When a student experiences high levels of stress, it can interfere with their ability to learn and leads to other health issues, which brings me to an article in the May issue of our Mums at the Table magazine, and it shared some tips on how to deal with stress of study and included things like taking notes, eating dark chocolate, which I love, staying offline, getting enough sleep and so forth. Now, Mary Ellen, you're a university student. Where do you think the stress to perform comes from? Is it your parents? Is it peers? Is it society?
So many facets, everywhere. But I think, I was just reflecting on that, and it used to be that it was my parents, and it used to be that it was society and, time, getting things done quickly, whatever it might be.
So it's changed over the years?
It's changed over the years, but I think you just internalise that eventually and you just put the pressure on yourself, not really knowing why you're putting the pressure on yourself, just because it's what you do.
So it's changed over the years.
It's definitely
changed over
the years.
How do you cope with the stress? Because you're a university student, so how do you cope with stress and, studies and exams and...
Yeah, well, I think it's really changed, as you said. When I was in high school, it was very much like, oh, I'm not coping with this. Like, I'm just so stressed all the time. Let's exercise to try and get some endorphins to deal with this. But I think as time has gone on, I've been able to develop a much broader perspective on life. And I think as you grow older, you sort of realise that it's not all about grades. You don't actually have to go to university to be successful. It's actually about relationships and getting your priorities right. And so
really,
yeah,
says the girl who is in university. So you don't need to go to university. But I'm in university.
Look, regrets. But anyway, that's a much...
Really?
It's a much different story.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. Isn't that a maturity thing? Isn't too much stress when you're young and not necessarily in a spot and a space to handle it? Isn't that necessarily... Like, that could be a bad thing?
Absolutely. And I think it comes down to where your priorities are, as well as I kind of was saying, because as a young person, I don't want to be wasting my life just nose deep in textbooks studying all the time. Like, I want to be actually enjoying my youth. And I think once you realise that, it's like, oh, okay.
Light bulb moment.
Light bulb moment.
Rach, do you think that over the years, generations these days feel more pressure to perform study-wise than they did back in the day of our parents or even our grandparents, do you think? Or is it just a different type of pressure?
Yeah, it's probably different, because you have to keep up with so many things nowadays, like technology's changing, and I don't know, I just think probably there's a lot of pressure to I think everything's visible.
Yes.
Yeah, so everything's on Instagram, everything's on social media, so you kind of feel this pressure from everyone else, like, oh, my friend's done this, I need to do that, I need to be at this certain stage of life. But
there's different stresses.
Yeah, but I think I heard some great advice was saying that there's no time frame on when you need to get to a certain point in life, and I think if we could kind of spread that message to kids, it would be great. Like, you don't need to, because you've seen everyone else doing something on social media, you don't need to be at that point in your life at a certain age.
Yeah.
I think a bit of pressure is good. I think too much stress is going to send people down the wrong path.
Yep.
You don't want to wrap them in cotton wool, but a bit of pressure is good. It builds resilience. It builds, I guess, character. So, got to find that balance.
Yeah, and I guess even in the education system here in Australia, it's based on, competition, curriculums, and I don't know if that one size fits all works for everyone.
Yeah, competition's great for some. Everyone getting a medal is good for others. Like, you've got a whole facet to approach this with.
Yeah, look, good practical tips, ladies. Now, to read the full article, get your copy of the Mums at the Table magazine. Just email us at hello@mumsattetable.com and we'll post it out to you at no cost because it's free. I must also add that if stress and or your studies are getting the better of you, be sure to speak to someone you can trust or seek professional help.